Hello, this is DJ Time Machine. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid. Deep, deep under the sea, where sunlight breaks into silver sparkles on the waves, there stood a shining underwater palace. In that palace lived a wise grandmother and 6 mermaid princesses. Among them, the youngest mermaid was the purest and the most curious. She spent her days collecting seashells, and at night she gazed up at the starlight, shimmering through the surface of the water. Every time she looked at the stars, her longing for the world above grew deeper and deeper. When mermaids turned 15, they were allowed to visit the surface. Her sisters returned one by one, telling stories of the human world. Ships with white sails, fireworks that lit up the sky, and people dancing to joyful music. Each tale stirred a small wave inside her heart. At last, the day came when the youngest mermaid turned 15. She rose to the surface and found a large ship glowing with lanterns under the moonlit sky. On deck, a grand celebration was taking place. Music, laughter, and dancing everywhere. At the center of it all stood a young prince. So handsome he looked like he had stepped out of a painting. From a distance, the little mermaid watched him quietly. But suddenly, a fierce storm swept across the sea. Lightning split the sky, and enormous waves struck the ship. It shattered under the violent storm, and the prince was thrown into the water. The little mermaid swam swiftly and pulled him to safety. When dawn arrived, she placed him gently on the sandy shore and hid behind the rocks. Soon, a girl from the nearby village found the prince and helped him awaken. Watching from afar, the mermaid felt a deep sadness. The prince did not know she had saved his life. From that day on, the little mermaid could no longer live as she once had. The sea was still beautiful, but her heart remained on land. She couldn't stop thinking about the human soul, a soul that lived on forever. Mermaids lived for hundreds of years, yet in the end, they became sea foam and disappeared without a trace. To her, a life that continued beyond death was more precious than a long life without one. She wished with all her heart to become human. So she went to the sea witch. The witch agreed to give her human legs, but only in exchange for her beautiful voice. And there was more. Every step she took would feel like walking on sharp blades. And if the prince did not marry her, she would turn into sea foam at dawn. The little mermaid accepted the pain and the fear and gave up her voice. At dawn, she drank the witch's potion on the shore. Agonizing pain struck her. Her tail vanished, and human legs appeared. She collapsed from the suffering. Just then, the prince found her and carried her back to his palace. The little mermaid could not speak, but she expressed her heart with smiles and gentle eyes. She lived among the people and danced gracefully, even though every step stabbed her with pain. The prince cared for her deeply, yet in his heart, he still thought about the girl he believed had saved him on the beach. Time passed. The prince eventually promised to marry another girl, the one he thought had rescued him. The little mermaid stayed beside him, hiding her sorrow, watching him quietly and tenderly. The night before the wedding, her sisters rose from the sea to find her. Their long hair had been cut off, and in their hands was a sharp knife. "If you use this knife and strike the prince," they said, "you will become a mermaid again." Late that night, she entered the prince's room, but she could only stare at his sleeping face. She could not harm him. Instead, she threw the knife into the sea. When the morning sun touched the surface of the water, the little mermaid's body dissolved quietly into sea foam. She did not win the prince's love, but her courageous sacrifice rose into the sky as a warm, gentle wind. It dried the tears of those who were sad and brushed the cheeks of the lonely, offering soft comfort they could not see but could always feel. Now, the little mermaid travels the world as a breeze that brings kindness. Whenever she passes, people feel a warmth they cannot explain. With a peaceful smile, she rises into the morning sky like transparent wings glittering in the sunlight. Moral: sometimes love means giving yourself to protect someone else, and such a choice will one day return as something greater, a spark of hope. That's all for today's story. You've been listening to DJ Time Machine. See you next time.